This man discovered that a character in a movie looked just like him. So, he searched online for the actor's information. The actor's name was Anthony. He was just a bit part player, but the man in front of him looked exactly like him in both appearance and build. To learn more about Anthony, Mike found Anthony's address online. To avoid being recognized by the doorman, he wore sunglasses. However, the doorman still recognized him immediately. Just when Mike thought he'd been caught, the doorman handed him a letter for Anthony, saying he hadn't seen him in 6 months. It turned out the doorman mistook Mike for Anthony, so Mike decided to play along, took the letter, and left the building. Once outside, he immediately dialed the number on the letter. The call was answered by Anthony's wife, Mike. After just a few words, Anthony's name was called out on the other end of the line. It turned out their voices were also identical. She mistakenly thought it was Anthony calling, but Mike, feeling too nervous, hung up the phone. Later at home, Mike called Anthony again. This time, it was Anthony himself who answered, but his wife outside thought that Anthony was talking to his ex-wife, believing they had rekindled their old flame. A big argument broke out. Anthony desperately tried to explain that the person on the other end of the line claimed to look just like him, even with the same voice, and wanted to meet in person. That evening, the conversation intrigued Anthony. He searched online and found out Mike was a teacher. He wrote down Mike's contact details and put them in his pocket. Late at night, his wife secretly looked at the paper, which had Mike's address and phone number. The next day, she went to Mike's school, and there she met the man who looked exactly like her husband. Mike didn't recognize her at all, even asking how many months pregnant she was. They weren't twins, but they had the same appearance. The man in the black jacket was Anthony, and the man in the white shirt was Mike. To find the difference between them, Anthony lifted his shirt and showed a scar on his chest, asking Mike if he had one too. Mike didn't answer. He just dropped the letter he had taken by mistake, and said they should leave each other alone from now on. But from Mike's look, it was clear he had the same scar on his chest. He thought this would be the end of it. The next day, Anthony saw Mike with his young girlfriend downstairs. An evil plan started to form in Anthony's mind. He wanted to take Mike's girlfriend for himself. To do this in a legitimate way, he told Mike his plan. Surprisingly, Mike agreed. So they switched clothes, and Mike went to pick up Anthony's wife from work. Meanwhile, Anthony went to Mike's house. Inside Anthony's house, Mike was very cautious, because one mistake and he would be exposed. But his wife noticed something was off, because the husband in front of her was acting differently, showing more concern than usual. But she didn't say anything, just rested in Mike's arms. On the other hand, Anthony made a mistake. Mike's girlfriend noticed the deep ring marks on Anthony's hands, and she felt deceived, so she insisted on being taken home. On the way, they argued non-stop, and eventually had a car accident. From then on, Mike replaced Anthony, and stayed with his wife forever. In fact, Anthony and Mike were the same person, split into two personalities, and the reason his wife never exposed him was because the Mike in front of her was the perfect image of the husband she had always dreamed of.